You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
So happy to have you with me here today on this Motivation and Mindset Monday, where I want to talk with you today about recognizing the path that you're currently on. I know that there's a lot of people out there who are currently frustrated with where they're at in life, and I don't think it has to be that way. I think a lot of times when we become frustrated, it's because we're not in complete alignment with exactly what we should be doing and what our end goal is. Not only what our end goal is, but the significance, what it actually means, what you can accomplish with your life, and what you can look back on and be proud of. So what I want to talk with you about today is that there's a big difference between the end goal, the final destination of where you want to get to, and then where you're at currently today. Because we all take different paths in our lives. And at certain times in our lives, we need to be going down a different road. What I mean by that is this, is we are all on this search, all on this journey for happiness. But the problem is that happiness is literally just an arbitrary term. So you ask, what do people want in life? I want to be happy, right? What do you want to do for work? Well, something that will make me happy. Well, what about when I'm in a relationship? What do you want? Well, I want to be happy in the relationship, and I want my family to be happy, right? You want your community to be happy. You want your friends to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy, and that's a great thing. It truly is. But the problem is this. If you're just searching for happiness, happiness isn't actually that thing to be looking for. It's what makes you happy, right? It's what in a relationship makes you happy. Is it just being able to be more of yourself? Well, what does that mean? Does that mean not having to pretend to be someone else? Does that mean that if you're not someone that loves to go out to bars and, big crowded places all the time, are you allowed to just hang out more at home and do quieter-based activities, right? So it's all of those things. Like that is what's leading to happiness. And that's why when I talk with you on these Mindset and Motivation Mondays, I want you to start to become clear on what it is that you want out of life. Don't just say happiness. Yes, I was saying I wanted to be happy since I was, 17, 18 years old. I want to be happy, right? But what did that mean? Well, in my career, yes, I wanted to be happy, but really what I wanted is to be in a position where I felt like I could teach something, that I could convey points that I felt were important in life, and that at least some people may resonate with that. And that would make me happy. Now, it was never about the money, and I've actually never said, I need to get to this specific goal. I need to be making this because of this, this, and this. It's never been that way. What it's always been about is I want to do work that I'm proud of. I want to do work that I can look back on and say that I made some type of a difference in someone's life. That was it. And maybe not millions or tens of millions of people, but maybe it was only a handful of people. But because of the work that I was doing, that it did matter. And that matters a lot to me. That brings me happiness at the end of a day. For you, your goals can be completely different. For me, also for my health, it was a big thing to get my health back. And that's because I couldn't accomplish what I wanted to do a lot in life, which was to have a family and to be able to have energy, to be able to play with my kids. That was something that I really did worry about, that I didn't want to really be bedridden or have to not be active in life. I want to be able to play sports. I want to be able to just get out there and exercise and do all those things. So that to me said, okay, I need to get healthy to do the things that I want to do with my life that would then make me happy. That was extremely important. Same with a relationship. I was looking for someone that had a lot of the same similar attributes or qualities, or at least balanced me, that we were a good connection, a good match for, and that I didn't have to try to make it work, that it just worked, right? And that there was no real necessarily like effort. Yes, effort is in you always put effort into your relationship to make it great, right? Because that takes work. But it was that I didn't have to force it. That's the word. You didn't have to force it to make it work. And same with spirituality is like, I just felt that when I did get to around 17, 18 years old, when I did become extremely sick, and I had to essentially look deep into my own programming in terms of mindset and upbringing, all of those things. At that point, I got to choose. I had to decide what I want my spiritual outlook to be. Did it need to be a specific religion? Did it need to be tied to a specific book with the religion? Could it be ideas from multiple religions? Could it be an overall philosophy in life? And I wanted something that worked for me, of course, at the time to get me through that dark time, because I think that's extremely important for many of us, but also something that I could grow with and that I could really see myself also talking more about, and that I could not necessarily try to convert anyone over, but I could get them to look at overall humanity and the overall connectedness of all people. And that to me, of course, was extremely important. So when I talk about all the different facets of life and my big five, which are the spirituality and then the family, the relationships, with career, with my health and my body transformation, the body in general, keeping it in shape so that it can carry you through life to the best of its ability, and so that you can get the most out of this life and that you truly can be happy. That's what I look at. But here's the big thing, is that whenever we aren't happy in any one of those areas, it's because of an alignment-based issue. And that's not a bad thing. That means right now, if you're not happy with your body, well, there's an alignment issue between what you believe it should be and where you're currently at. And that's same with health, and that's same with relationships. And that's not bad, because most likely you want more for yourself, right? You want more out of life. You want more out of your relationship, your spirituality, your body, your health, and your career. Those are never bad things. Want as much as you want for yourself. That is not a negative, and it's not materialistic. I believe that we are here on this journey, on this spiritual journey, on this human-based journey, to live life to the fullest. I really believe that. Now, it's not about the financial or trying to win at any specific game. What it is for you to get everything that you can out of this life while helping others along with you. That's my belief. But it's also my belief, because I do believe in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I've done a specific Mindset and Motivation Monday on this as well. But if you look up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you understand that you have to help yourself first before you can truly help others to a greater level. And I've seen that really throughout my career when, I was very young, right out of college coming up, and I worked in college as well. And I would work with a lot of different types of clients, and some they did very well financially, some, let's say, in the middle, and some in the lower. And when I looked at people's ability financially, what I found was this, is they were able to give to multiple charities and do a lot of great things with that. And then the middle seemed to be a bit of a struggle, but lower, meaning like where finances and making a lot of money in your career didn't seem to be a big issue. A lot of people there seem to be giving a lot of their time. They seem to be a lot of teachers. They seem to be a lot of people who worked in the community and in the church, and it was remarkable. So I got to look at it from many different facets, and that giving to people and giving in life in general can come in different ways. And I think that's a beautiful thing as well. And both people were happy with their contribution to others, because some had time to give, some had money to give, some had nothing. They didn't. They were working multiple jobs, and they couldn't make ends meet with money, and they didn't have time. And I understand that. It's also why I believe that we need to know the destination we're shooting for, but also then work the path, right? Work the path to get where we want to be. And that's what I want to talk about right now, because if you're frustrated in life right now, it does mean you're out of alignment. It does mean that there's a cognitive dissonance. There's an idea of where you should be and then where you're currently at, and the two don't match. That leads to frustration, overwhelm, anxiety. And if you're experiencing that, see what it is. Meditate on it. Just go for a walk. I love walking meditation. That's what I do for the most part. I put on binaural beats, and I'll talk about specific hertz in the future. It's just the sound frequency. And I just walk, and I walk, and I walk, and I walk. And what I do is I don't think about anything. I see where my thoughts lead me, and I begin to just allow them to ruminate. Now, sometimes I do a silent meditation where I allow the thoughts to come in, and then I just allow them to flow away, not specifically thinking about them. When I'm doing a walking-based meditation, I like to allow what my subconscious brings up. And as my subconscious brings it up, I say, oh, that's interesting. Why is it bringing that up? That's obviously something that's important to me that's unresolved. that I should be working on. And then I work those specific things. I don't judge. There can be no judgment. And then at the next time, when I find a place of misalignment of what I should be doing, again, relationship-wise, body-wise, overall health, spirituality, career, when I find that there's that cognitive dissonance of where I want to be versus where I'm at right now, I don't judge it. I try not to get upset about it. And I simply ask, why do I want to get there? And I ask then, why again? I keep asking why till I get down to the bottom of what that would mean to me. And when I come to that conclusion, I say, okay, is this truly something then that matters? And if it does, what then can I do now to begin to work towards that? And I also step back and say, okay, yes, this is important, but can it also be waited on? Can I wait on this? And sometimes the answer is no, because it's going to take a while to accomplish. Or if I have too much going on at that moment, what would it take in terms of time, of mental energy as well, physical energy potentially, for me to accomplish this? And then I try to lay out that map. And what a lot of people do, and this is where I see a lot of frustration in my practice, is that they eventually know where they want to get to. They know where they're at right now, and they don't see the path in order to get there. Or they know what they need to do, and they see the path, but they're extremely frustrated at the time it will take to get there. I think that can lead to, again, a lot more overwhelm and a lot more anxiety. But I want you to know this, that you can be happy on the path that you're on right now versus when you actually attain that goal. I'll actually say this. I sometimes believe, and I'm believing this more and more every single day, that it's the path that you're on that can cause the most excitement, the most energy, and really some of the happiest times of your life. I've realized this over and over is that when I do achieve a goal, when I reach that place, I am happy. I am happy. When I finally opened my wellness center after it being a dream as a little kid, but a teenager, that was a huge moment for me. I was very happy. I was proud, not in a ego-based way, but just that I did it. It came true, and that, a kid from Medford, Massachusetts, who didn't necessarily come from that type of life, could open up one of the premier wellness institutes, I believe, in New England. And when that happened, that was exciting. But here's what happened next. Then I had to move on to the next goal. Because we are human beings. We are creators. We create with our life. When we stop creating, when we stop doing with our life, I really believe that's when we start to age quickly. That's when we start to go downhill. And we can see that from research. We can see it from studies that when people retire, when they don't have purpose with their life, whether it's a hobby or community outreach, whatever it happens when they retire, they go downhill and age much faster because the body and mind are connected. The mind saying, we're done. That's it. We've accomplished what we want to do in life. Okay, now it's time to fade away. And I don't mean that from any negative consequence or negative perspective, except for the fact that you should be aware of this, is that you can be happy with where you're at right now, but you have to understand is that you can never be stagnant. So you have to keep doing more of the thing that makes you happy in order to stay happy, or you can look at it as this, and this is how I'm looking at it now. And it's funny because I have quite a large team now, and some people have known me from many, many years ago, and my mindset is quite different now than it was a decade ago. And the reason is this. I'm no longer in the rush that I was in my late 20s than I am now. And it's because I realized the same thing, is that I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And that includes my career, that includes me exercising, it includes me continuing to optimize my health, it includes my spirituality, and it does include my relationships. Because I want to make sure that my relationships with my parents and family and my friends and my wife and my 2 daughters is going to continue to be as great as it is now and hopefully even better because I'm going to work on it. So if that's the case, and I know what I need to do to work towards it, then I can enjoy the current circumstances. I can enjoy my journey. There's so much that goes on in my life that I never really talk too much about, but there's a lot of ups and downs. And so there can be things with work, whether we have this horrible, like literally horrible shipping center right now. And I won't name names, but it's getting to that point where it's extremely frustrating working with them. And we are switching over to a new fulfillment center. But that has caused me to become quite upset with my work, to the point where I say we shouldn't really even be shipping out the product, because 80% will get there and 20% will be mispackaged or whatever it might be. And that's extremely frustrating. And literally it will be fixed most likely within 48 hours if you listen to this podcast. But I feel like my reputation, what I work so hard for, is being tarnished by this fulfillment center. And even more so than that, I feel like I'm not upholding my end of the bargain. Although I'm not the fulfillment company, I'm putting my stamp of approval on that. And that's extremely frustrating. That to me has caused quite a bit of stress. And before I would have exploded, my pitta would have truly come out, I would have exploded on this company. But now I realize they're doing the best they can. They're obviously not a well-organized company. We needed to move on, and there's nothing that I can do except that I understand that I'm going to be doing this for the next 30 plus years, and I'm going to use this as a learning experience. I'm going to provide even better customer service to our customers, and I'm going to make sure that they get the highest 5-star quality. So what did it cause me to do, this frustration over the last 2 months? Here's what it did. I went to the number one fulfillment company now in the United States. It costs us 3 times the amount of money to now ship us you a package. But it is the best quality shipping service in the United States, and it will even do that internationally as well, meaning like they ship internationally. They're number one in the United States. They cost 3 times as much. And I would never have gone to them, though, if this was even a decent service from the shipping center that I'm at now. But guess what? I've now upgraded my level of service because of this in my life. So now I realize, yes, this was a bad circumstance to be in, but what can I learn from it? What can I take from it? Well, here's what I took from it. I need to get better in all facets of my career, and this is one of them. And if I'm going to get better, why not shoot for the best? Yes, it's going to cost us more money, but what's going to happen is this. We're going to provide the best possible customer service experience ever in terms of shipping. So I did that. The same went from my health. My health was at an all-time rock bottom at 17, 18, 19 years old. Met a functional medicine practitioner, started to teach me about functional medicine lab testing, ran a bunch of labs, found out I had Addison's disease, myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue immunodeficiency syndrome, type 2 diabetes, POTS, and numerous other issues. I went about correcting those. Didn't find all the answers right away, kept searching, kept going, eventually met my mentor. My mentor taught me how to combine the best of Eastern-based practices, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, blended that with functional medicine testing that I was already doing, told me what to study, had me then look into my own genetics, and as they say, the rest was history. I found the answers I was looking for. But even after that, I would still get run down sometimes. This would happen, this would happen. I realized at that time, though, that I was still on that healing path. I was better, but mentally I wasn't, because every time I would get a cold, I thought that I was falling back to that sick kid. And so I used to get extremely upset when I would get a cold. Now when I get a cold, and it lasts for 3 days, 2 or 3 days or so, I realize, I look back with perspective and I say, everyone gets a cold. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean you're going back to being sick. What it means is that you're human. You get sick sometimes. Here's the nice thing, though. You know that you're going to get better. And use this time, this 72 hours of not feeling well, to then go back and appreciate the health that you do have. And that goes for my body, the body as well. I tore my Achilles tendon when I was running cross country and track in high school. I tore my brachioradialis, one of my bicep forearm-based muscles, when I was lifting 22 years old. I had labrum and rotator cuff-based issues when I was 19 years old. I appreciate being pain-free right now. I appreciate not having rheumatoid arthritis, which is another dis-ease of the body that I had. And I couldn't grip anything because my thumbs were in so much pain, right? So now I look and I say, I'm pain-free. I feel great. I no longer have insomnia. It takes me less than 10 minutes to fall asleep when my head hits the pillow. It used to take 2 or 3 hours, or sometimes I would never go to bed at night. I would just never fall asleep. All of those things are behind. But if they ever sneak back up, I understand that it's temporary, that I've now been down that path. But if you have not gotten to your goals, you do have to understand that you're just on the journey, that you're on the path, and you're working the process. I didn't get better overnight. I didn't get pain-free overnight. I didn't get rid of insomnia overnight. None of those things happened. So you do have to understand that where you're at today does not dictate where you'll be at 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 6 years from now. You do have to understand that you can achieve all of your goals in life. I truly believe that. You can have everything that you want, but you can't always have it when you want or choose the timeline. And you can't always choose to remove all the obstacles you will encounter. I shared a few stories with you today just to show you the obstacles that have come up in the past and that continue to come up. I will have more obstacles next month, the month after, and the month after that. And they will continue to come. And the reason is that that's part of life. We've always known that. When I go back and I study deeply in philosophy and psychology, because I believe that when you've accumulated enough knowledge in one particular area, what really matters is the ability to implement and the ability to look back with perspective. And so when I look at Taoism or the great Tao or Ayurvedic-based philosophy, not even a lot of people know that there are Ayurvedic-based philosophies as well, that you understand that life is about balance. It's about light and dark. It's about juxtaposition. It's about that yin-yang based symbol. And that in every situation, there is so much good, and then there's that speck of the negative. It will always be there. And it's not, I used to never want that, right? I would listen to Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn was one of my favorite virtual mentors, and I would listen to all of his audio CDs and all that. And he would talk about the wintertime, plan for the winter. That's the downtime of your life. And I would say, no, I'm never going to have a downtime. There's no downtimes. It's all good. It's all positive. That's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm going for. I'm doing the right things in life. I'm trying to help people. I'm giving out positive vibes. And yet, I would still hit my low times. I would still hit my winters, and I continue to. And the reason is that is part of life, that we don't get to control all of those things. And I do believe we're put it there for multiple reasons. One is sometimes I do believe we're being tested. I really do. Not everybody believes that. I do believe we get tested sometimes. I don't know by who. I don't know how. I don't know if it's the universe. I don't know what it is. But things start to seem going well, and we're thrown a little curveball. But I also believe this. We're never thrown more obstacles than we can handle. I believe that. I believe that we have everything we need in order to overcome them. Sometimes we can't overcome them that day, and we don't have the knowledge to that day or that week or that month either. But it's now our job to go out and seek that knowledge, to seek the answer to overcome that. Why? Because when we overcome it, we become mentally stronger and our physical character as well. So what do I mean by that is this. The more we overcome, not if it doesn't kill us, it makes us stronger. No. Because these things don't kill people. They can just bury them, right? They can just really push them down. What I believe is this. The more that you encounter, and you will encounter more because the greater your goals, the more you will encounter. It just seems to be the way. There are greater obstacles keeping people from achieving greater things in their life. And that's why I believe that a lot of people, they don't even want to know all the great goals that you're trying to achieve because it makes them feel like, oh, I should be doing the same. And I've spoken that before on a previous Mindset and Motivation Monday podcast. But I believe this, as we start to shoot for greater goals, we need to become the person, so not just want the thing, but we need to become the person, the character, both mental and physical, that's able to and worthy of achieving that thing. So we don't get to have the successful career without putting in the work, studying, getting the knowledge to then be able to move up and move ahead. Same with our body. We don't get to have the body that we want. Most of us don't, right? Like unless you have those just superior genetics, and those don't even last forever. But most of us have to put in the work through the nutrition, through the exercise, a lot of things that people aren't willing to do. And the same goes for health. Obviously, myself running a large functional medicine-based practice, I see people and they get frustrated because they've been doing it. As they come to me, they say, I've already been doing this for this amount of time. And I say, you know what? You have. And you've actually been doing a great job. And you are getting healthier, but you're just not there yet. You're not there yet. It's not going to happen it's remarkable to me because I have the outside perspective to look at it. In 21 days, people make unbelievable transformations, whether it's through the Dr. Ball detox, whether they're getting their own private personalized wellness plan, whatever it might be. And they say, the weight's down 10 pounds, 12 pounds, the inflammation's down, less brain fog, feeling better digestively, but my sleep isn't perfect yet. And I'm like, it's been 21 days, that's it. You're 46 years old, you've been dealing with this for 21 years maybe, and we fixed so much in 21 days, but it's only been 3 weeks in the grand scheme of things. Give yourself credit. You've been doing amazing work in your life, amazing work. It's just not there yet because there's a little bit more work to be done. I mean, it's one of those things that if we were to look around us in nature anywhere, we would see that when you plant a seed, it takes months for it to even pop through that soil. And if you plant it in the fall, like I'm doing right now for my garden and things like that, it doesn't even pop up until the spring. And then I go back to the Jim Rohn audio CDs, and now I get it, right? We are going through our winter, but we're putting in work in the spring. We're planting those seeds. We're watering or so in the summer. We're starting to see those first blooms of our goal, and then in the fall we harvest, right? We look at that. We get ready then also, though, we save up, with all of our food and body and all those different things to then have to go through the next winter. And now I look at that and I say, I get it. The seasons of life also reflect where we're at, how we're moving through life, and these aren't necessarily bad things. So what I want you to understand is that the path you're on right now may not even be a bad one. It just means you're on your journey. You're on the way. You're accumulating the knowledge. You're meeting the people that you need to know as well that are going to help take you to that next level. And as long as you keep moving forward, I honestly believe that you'll achieve your goal. I actually have no doubt because it's only people that give up that don't achieve their goals. Because it's only when you put that timeline on it that you get frustrated. Understand that you can have everything that you want in life. I truly believe that. You can have everything you want. You just don't always get to choose the path that you take and the timeline in which it's achieved. Thank you so much for tuning into today's Cabral Concept. I do hope you enjoyed it. I always love doing these shows for you. I really do. And you know that it's as much for me as it is for you. If this show is helpful, please do feel free to pass it along to anyone you believe it may serve. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.